Hi, today we'll be looking at how to solve equations. And then to explain this, we're going to treat some examples, some very nice examples. So the very first example we're considering today is going to be, let me choose this. So the first example is going to be, we want to solve 1 over 2x minus 4 equals 3 over 4x. And this is what we want to solve. So the solution. Now how do we go about this? So this is the same thing as x divided by 2 minus 4 all over 1 equals, so this is 3x divided by 4. Now many a times when you're trying to solve an equation and then you observe you have fractions there, try as much as possible to simplify the fractions. So what I have here is two fractions. To simplify this, I need to find the LCM. When you find the LCM of 2 and 1, what you obtain is 2. Now 2 divided by 2 is 1. 1 times x is x. Minus 2 divided by 1 is 2 times 4. That is 8. Equals, you have 3x divided by 4. Now at this stage, since all we have is just two fractions in which equality sign is between them, the next thing you need to do is you cross multiply. So you cross multiply what you have here. And then when you do that, what we would have is going to be 4 into x minus 8 equals 2 times 3x, which is 6x. So 4 times this is 4x minus 32 equals 6x. And then when you collect like terms, so you bring this to this side, and then you bring this to the other side. So what we'll have is going to be 4x minus 6x equals negative 32. And then 4x minus 6x is negative 2x equals, okay, this should be plus 32, equals 32. And then we divide both sides by negative 2. So this goes off. So now we have x to be equal to 32 divided by this. Here we have 16. So we have negative 16 to be our final answer. So let's look at another example. So example 2 says solve. So we want to solve the absolute value of 2 minus x equals negative 1. Now to solve this, let me explain something to you. Let's look at this. The absolute value of 5 is 5. Similarly, the absolute value of negative 5 is 5. So that actually implies that if you're told to solve, or if you are told that the absolute value of an unknown number is 5, it simply implies that either the number is plus 5 or x equals negative 5. It satisfies this equation like we have seen above here, because the absolute value of 5 is 5 and the absolute value of negative 5 is also 5. So the same thing is happening here. We are told that the absolute value of an unknown equals negative 1. Now this implies that either the number itself is negative 1 or the number 2 minus x equals negative 1, equals the negation of it. That's what this whole thing here explains here. And then when we pick this, we have 2 minus x equals negative 1. When we collect like terms, we have 2 plus 1 becomes 3 equals x. Or we just say x equals 3. And then when we solve this part here, we have 2 minus x equals negative 1 is 1. So when we bring x to this side and we bring this to this side, you have 2 minus 1, which is 1, equals x. Or you just say x equals 1. So now we have two answers. So the first one is x equals 3 or x equals 1. And then you can confirm that by substituting them into this equation here. So let's look at another example. Here it says we should solve x squared minus 6x equals 13. Actually here, we could use different methods to solve this quadratic equation, but I'm going to use the completing the square method. Now, what does the completing the square method says? To solve this, all we need to use the completing the square method is only the terms of the quadratic polynomial that contains x, or that contains the unknown. And then if you look at this, that is this and this. Now, the very first you want to do is, what is the unknown? The unknown is x. The coefficient of x is this here. So we divide the coefficient of x by 2. So that's going to be negative 6 divided by 2. You close bracket, you complete that square, then minus whatever you have here, which is negative 6 over 2 minus the square of that, then equals 13. This is all we need. Every other thing, just write them the way they are. So when you do this, you have x minus 3 squared, then minus, this is negative 3 squared, equals 13. And then when you complete this, you have x negative 3 squared minus negative 3 squared is 9 equals 13. Now this implies x negative 3 squared equals, now, negative 9 comes here, becomes 13 plus 9, which is 22. So to remove this square, I need to take the square root of both sides. So you have x negative 3 equals the square root of 22. Whenever you take the square root, ensure that your square root sign goes along with the plus and the negative sign. Most times people forget this. Anytime you use the square root sign, ensure it goes along with the positive and the negative sign. This is very, very important. And then when you solve this, so it says x minus 3 has two values, either plus square root of 22 or the negation of the root of 22. So this implies that either x negative 3 equals root 22 or x negative 3 equals minus root 22. And then when you solve this, so we want to solve for x, so negative 3 comes to this side, becomes 3 plus root 22, or x equals, so negative 3 comes to this side, so it becomes plus 3, that is 3 minus root 22. So these are the two solutions of this quadratic equation. So let's look at one more example before we call it quits here. So the last example we're going to use, or we're going to see, is we want to solve 2x squared plus 5x plus 3 equals 0. Now, you could use any method. You could either use the factorization method, you could use the quadratic formula method, or you could use the completing the square method. But the method I'm going to consider here is the quadratic formula method. And what does the quadratic formula says? It says that, so let me just write the quadratic formula. So it says if you're given a quadratic polynomial ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Now you're given a quadratic equation and you're told to solve this quadratic equation for x. It says the solution is just simply minus b plus or minus the root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So I'm going to apply this here. So what I have here is, so we have ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Now looking at this, so you can see this is my a, this is my b, and this is my c. So my a is 2, my b is 5, and my c is 3. So to solve for x is just going to be, it says minus b, that is minus my b is 5, plus or minus the root of b squared, which is 25, that is 5 squared, minus 4 times a, which is 2, times c, which is 3, divided by, it says 2 times a, that is 2 times 2. So let's solve this. So what we have here is negative 5 plus or minus the root of 5 squared is 25, minus 4 times 2 is 12, 4 times 2 is 8, times 3 is 24, divided by 4. and then this gives us negative 5 plus or minus the square root of 25 minus 24 is 1 divided by 4. So now you have x to be equal to negative 5 plus 1 divided by 4, or x equals negative 5 minus 1 divided by 4. And then when you simplify that, what you have is negative 5 plus 1 is negative 4 divided by 4, or x equals negative 5 minus 1 is negative 6 divided by 4. So our answer is going to be negative 4 divided by 4 is negative 1, or x equals, so 2 here is 2, and then 2 here is 3. So you have negative 3 all over 2. And then this gives you your final answer as a solution of this quadratic equation using the quadratic formula. Thank you.